to look at R.9, trigonomic ratios, a fun angle measure. So we've been using the mnemonic sine theta equals opposite hypotenuse, cosine theta equals adjacent hypotenuse, and tangent theta equals opposite adjacent. So now we're going to be talking about the inverses of each. So we're going to be talking about arc, sine. When you talk about it in a calculator, it would be sine inverse. So it would be sine inverse of opposite over the hypotenuse to equal your theta. And then for cosine, be arc cosine. In the calculator, it would be cosine inverse of adjacent over hypotenuse to equal your theta. And then arc tangent, which is tangent inverse of opposite over adjacent to equal our theta. And remember, your theta is in degrees. So that means your calculator has to be in this degree mode. All right, so let's look at the first one. I have a triangle RQP or QRP, however you want to say it. It's a right triangle, and it's asking us to find the measure of angle R. So when I look at R, it's right here. We want to look at what's across from R, and I have the square root of 15, which is the opposite. And then next to that is going to be the adjacent side. So it looks like we're going to be working with tangent. So for sure, we are looking for R. We know that PQ is the square root of 15. We know that QR is the square root of 62. And like I said, we're going to be working with tangent. So tangent of R is going to be PQ over QR. So tangent of R is equal to the square root of 15 over the square root of 62. Now these are pretty simple because we use our calculator for a lot of these. So I'm going to say to find R, tangent of negative or inverse tangent of square root of 15 divided by the square root of 62 is going to equal R. And then we want to estimate to the tenths. All right, so tenths. So that means that R is going to equal, let's find out. So inverse tangent, square root of 15 divided by the square root of 62. So for this, my R is 26.19. I'm asking for the answer in tenths. So this is kind of similar to IXL. So that means when I round it, my R is going to equal 26.2. Make that clear. That's a 26.2 equals R. Next triangle is triangle STU, and I'm asking you to find angle S. So let's use a different color. So S is right here. So across from S is the opposite side. This is going to be 7. And then the hypotenuse is 8. And when I'm talking about this, I want to think about what I know. So I know that, I believe I'm going to be using sine. I know that S is what we're looking for. So TU equals 7. SU equals 8. So I'm looking for sine because we want to say SOHCAHTOA. So because I have opposite hypotenuse. So sine of S is going to be TU divided by SU. Sine of S is going to be 7 divided by 8. So the inverse of sine, and then 7/8 is going to give me my angle S in degrees. So S is going to equal, let's clear this. I'm going to get inverse sine, and then we want to say 7 divided by 8. My angle is going to be 61.04. And let's just say we want in the tenths place. So S is going to equal 61.0. And that's degrees. That's our solution. For the measure of angle T, I want to go ahead and continue to use the mnemonic. Okay, so I know that T is right here, so the opposite would be across. So since we don't have the opposite, we're going to look for the adjacent. So 7.2 is the adjacent, and 8.6 is the hypotenuse. So I'm going to be using cosine. So we're looking for T. We for sure know that ST is 7.2. RT is equal to 8.6. So I'm going to be using cosine of T, or the inverse, to find the measure of T. So cosine T is equal to ST over RT, because that's the adjacent of the hypotenuse. Cosine T is going to be 7.2 divided by 8.6. So when I set up the arc cosine, or the inverse of cosine, it's going to be cosine inverse 7.2 divided by 8.6 is going to equal angle T. So let's see what we get. And inverse cosine 7.2 divided by, let's see, I think I did that wrong. I'll clear that again. So inverse cosine of 7.2 divided by 8.6, and I get approximately 33.15. So T is 33.15. IXL is going to ask for the tenths, so let's give another estimate. So because that's a 5, it's going to make the 2, it's going to make the 1 a 2, so it's 33.2 degrees, and that's your solution.